Hello everybody, welcome into Rock Painting 101. I have been in the mood to be doing rainbows lately. I feel like my daughter's really in the rainbows right now, and you can't really go wrong with a rainbow idea. So today we're going to do a fun dotted rainbow tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started here because it's going to take a few layers, and I'll kind of chat a little bit as I get started. We're just going to dot. I'm using my largest pens that I own, which are 5M Poscas. And you're just going to start by dotting your very outside tip of your tree. And like I said, we're going to do a few layers of this. So we're just going to kind of block out each color first. We're going to start with our red, come in with our orange. I'm not actually clicking down with the pen. I'm just kind of tapping. For now, I want to try to avoid touching the red. We will kind of go in and do some blending and layering, but for now, we're going to just block out our spaces so we can get a good idea of where our tree is going. I always doodle off my tip in case I've got another color on there from a previous paint project. So I'm just going to kind of block out our yellow here. I like to keep my pens in order off to the side here so you can kind of make sure you're grabbing in the right order. Every once in a while I'll get carried away if I don't pay attention and I'll grab out of order, and you don't want that. We're going to have some of them blend in and out of each other a little bit. But there we go. We're just going to... There we go. Blue. And then we're going to go into purple. And we're going to go back over this. And I'll just kind of show you how we're going to do it, and then I'll kind of speed up certain parts of this video because otherwise it'll be very long. All right, so we've got our purple space down here at the bottom. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, I do want this space at the bottom for our trunk, and then we're going to swirl our branches up and in our tree. I'm going to go right back to the beginning again with my red, and I'm going to go along the edges as well, but I'm also going to go right up to the orange. So first kind of fill in some of your edges. You can have a few of them that kind of stray out to the sides here and there. I don't pay over too much attention when I'm dotting as to where I'm going. Just kind of go back and forth over the same space so that it almost becomes a solid color there. Just like so. And again, I'm not clicking my pen, I'm just dabbing. I'll come closer so you can see here. There we go. See, I'm just dabbing it on. I'm not actually clicking the paint pen. You don't want to click it. You'll end up with puddles all over your project. Now, after I'm done doing out the upper edge, I want to do down on the orange space edge last so that will be a little bit wet when I come back now with my orange. So I'm going to go right in my orange, go right in the center, but then I'm going to go kind of back and forth along that red line. It's okay if you get a little bit of that red paint onto your paint pen. We're just going to go back and forth along that line. You can have a couple come up into your red space if you want, just like so. And then slowly work downward in your orange stripe, just like that. Then you're going to fill in that space. All that red will be off your tip. You're filling in your space now of your orange, like so. And then we're going to go right along that yellow edge. And then we're going to do the exact same thing we did before. Okay, so sometimes when you're going along your seam, some of the colors are, I don't know, stronger, I think, than others. Like this blue, I feel like it's very overpowering to the green. So it doesn't quite blend the way that I like it to. So what I like to do when I do my seam between blue and green is get my blue down there, and now I'm going to come back and do some green along the edge. So you get that blue-green color, but you need the green to be the top layer to kind of get the fade that I like to achieve between the two colors. And then just kind of doodle off the tip of your pen, get that blue off of there, like so. And then we're going to go in and do our last color here, purple. I'll speed this back up. Okay. Okay, now I'm just gonna have a couple of leaves kind of falling down. You can kind of look over what you've got. Certain colors sometimes are a little bit more opaque than others, like the orange. I feel like you can still see through it to the rock a little bit too much for my liking. So I'm gonna go right back in there and do one more little layer in a few of the spots. I don't mind having slightly different shades. I like some of the rock kind of leaking through in some areas, kind of gives it a different hues and tones of that orange, and that's okay. Like so, and I kind of don't want it to be arched quite as much as that in the center, so I'm going to kind of go over some of that yellow with orange. There we go. So you can kind of touch up the way that your colors look. You're going to need this to dry before we are going to go in and add in our tree branches to this. So just going to kind of add a couple more little dots of this red. We're going to set this off to the side to dry, and then we'll check back and add in our tree trunk and limbs in just a few minutes. Okay, so all the colors have had plenty of time to dry, so now we're just going to go in and make like a silhouette style graphic trunk to go along with our tree. So I'm going to have it come just down here to the base. So I'm going to kind of give myself almost like a triangle. That's the bottom of the stump. Okay. So the way I like to build trees is I like to start at the very tip of my branch that I'm creating and work my way back down to my stump. And that way, as you build your branches, your trunks and branches will get thicker and thicker. Now it's up to you what style of branches. You can go with a very realistic look. You can make more of a swirling, whimsical look. I'm gonna go with more of a whimsical look today. It is a rainbow tree, you know, so you don't have necessarily a tree that you're looking at in nature and basing this off of. So I've got my branch. I'm gonna work it all the way back down to my triangle, just like that. And then I'm going to go in and continue to do this. And every time I create a branch, when I get back to some place where there is a branch, I try not to go over the same line, but next to the same line. And over time, as you build your tree, the trunk will naturally be getting larger in the areas where it would be thicker. So I know, like I just said, this is not a tree that you would find in nature, but at least certain things about it can make sense. So see, like again here, when I get to this branch, we're going to go right down the side of it like so. And this is when the bumps and lumps on a rock, they come in handy. They really give it a kind of a barky texture. We're just going to go all the way back down to our triangle base like so. And the more of them you add, the more your branches will thicken up and look more tree-like. So I'm going to do a few more branches here, and we'll speed it up so you can watch me create them. And then we'll kind of pan to a more finished looking tree. Once you've gotten quite a ways through your tree, you'll continue to use the same technique of thickening up the outer branches as you're adding into their thickness, but you'll find at some point in time you like the thickness of your main tree trunk down here, and you can stop making it thicker with each and every branch that you are creating. But still continue to use that technique when you're doing these upper branches. So when you get to those, you're still making those a bit thicker with each additional branch that you're putting out into the tree. But you don't have to necessarily thicken it all the way down to the base anymore. Once you're happy with your rock, I'm adding a couple more little spots in here myself. When you're happy with the look of your rock, you kind of take a little look back and make sure there's not an area where you feel it looks empty. Take one last look at your trunk. Make sure you feel that it's, you know, going thin on the outer edges, nice and getting thicker and thicker as it comes to the core. I'm going to fill in. I'm not going to fill in with this pen though, because this is my nice 1M pen. I don't want to rough up the tip of that, so I'm just going to grab a bigger one here to fill this in real fast. I do have some fallen leaves of the purple, because the purple's at the bottom of the tree, that I have kind of scattered and falling down a little bit. If you want, you can come along here at the bottom and kind of pull your edges out to the side a little bit, give it some lumps and bump texture to kind of base the rock. Again, this works actually better, this design, on a rock that has a little bit of texture to it, because as you look at these roots and these branches, the little bumps and things like that that you get on there really give it a lot of personality. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I really love how this rock turned out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more rock painting tutorials, and we'll be back soon with something else fun for you to do. Bye-bye.